All right, I've got the G1000 done. Everything's mapped in the flight simulator using mobile flight and all that stuff. I'm not going to show you that right now. What I wanted to talk about, I know it's been a while since I've done an update. Had a lot of family stuff going on, so I've been dealing with that and just kind of getting back into the swing of things. I noticed a problem. I was about to make a second unit because I want a PFD and an MFD. So I was going to order some more parts to build a MFD and ran into a little snag. Let me share my screen here. So I came here to DigiKey one day. I'm already on DigiKey. I was looking for the ATmega 2560 chips and came across something very unfortunate. As you can see, everything is out of stock. It looks like back in January, Microchip sent out a letter to the distributors saying that some package versions of the 2560 chip were now obsolete. And it looked like Mouser and DigiKey, at least here in the US, both just said these are obsolete, can't order them anymore. I somehow got a copy of the letter that was sent to them. I think DigiKey had it on their website somewhere and published it. So I looked at the PDF of it, and it was only saying there was a specific package type. It was the package that's in has like a ball grid array type of package. I think it's if you look at the part numbers, I think it's the CU and CUR versions. Right here. The ball grid array package. There it is. So those are obsolete now. That doesn't affect me. I was using the TQFP package here. It looks like a lot of distributors misunderstood the communication, that it was only for specific package types, and they all just went, oh, these are obsolete, we're not selling them anymore. It looked like in the following weeks, DigiKey corrected that, and there were some chips available. They had like 1,900 chips left, and I was like, I better get on and order a few. I waited a couple of days, and in the couple of days, they were gone. And it's been several weeks now, and there's nothing here. If I go to Microchip's website, Mouser's not even selling these 2560s anymore, I believe. So I'm not even going to look at that. But if you go to Microchip's website, and we search for the ATmega 2560 8-bit microcontrollers. Let's see what we got here. You can see the status is in production. They are still making these. They are not obsolete yet, at least. And it does say that you can purchase these. They're showing volume pricing here, which is about what DigiKey was charging for these. We're looking at the 16 megahertz version, so these two right here. It says it's available to order, but if you go to purchase and look, you can see that nothing is available until May. This was saying mid-April last time I checked, and now they're pushing it out to May. So they're still making them. They're just hard to get a hold of right now. Back in, I think, late February, there was like 60,000 of these available on Microchip's website. But you can see for guys like me that are just ordering, 2 or 3 or 4 of these chips at a time, we're going to pay $20 plus their shipping costs on top of that. I mean, you're looking like $25 a chip, which is way too much in my opinion. So yeah, that's where it stands right now. So this kind of got me thinking, like, maybe it's time to move away from this 2560 chip, because I just don't know how, what the availability of this is going to look like going forward. So if there's anybody out there that's already started building their own G1000 off of this design, like, make sure you secure your parts first before you do anything else, because this is going to be a problem. Like, you may get some chips in May, but you're going to have to wait till May. It may be that, like, there's only 60,000 chips available again, and too many people snatch them up, and it's hard to get a hold of them. I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to look like for that chip. So I am seriously considering doing another design based around something else. I'm not sure what that is yet. I started playing around with Microsoft SimConnect with their SimConnect SDK to see if I could kind of write some of my own firmware, because that is one of the downsides to MobiFlight here. If I go to their website and you click on documentation, actually, if you look right here, they'll tell you the hardware that's supported. They're supporting Arduino Mega Pro Mini, which I believe is MobiFlight's own version of the Arduino Mega. It's a board that they produce and sell. Arduino Pro Micro, the Uno, and the Nano. And there's actually a few more boards than that. If you go to the documentation here on GitHub, they actually list a few more Arduinos here, if my internet will ever go. Okay, so you go to the GitHub documentation, and here they list a few more boards. So you got the Mega, you got MobiFlight's version of the Mega. There it is. That's what it is. So it's kind of like a smaller form factor that they produce, which you can buy. They still support the Uno, the Nano. They also mentioned the Arduino Pro Micro. Not actually familiar with this one. So not a lot of outputs on that one. They also support the Raspberry Pi Pico, the first version, not the second version that's out right now. So the one downside though is, like, the Raspberry Pi Pico would be a pretty nice board to use. It's got about 30 GPIOs on it. They're not all exposed on this board. This board's like $4, by the way. Like, that's a very inexpensive microcontroller to use. If you even just bought the chip and design your own circuit around it, these chips are like 70 cents right now at DigiKey, I think. So compared to a $15 to $20 ATmega chip versus a 70 cents for a Raspberry Pi microcontroller, and these are guaranteed to be in production through 2036. The Raspberry Pi, the second generation chip, is guaranteed to be in production till 2040. So these chips aren't going anywhere. They're dirt cheap. This might be a good design, a good chip to design a new product around. So that's something I'm kind of toying with right now. The only downside, though, is that because you don't have all the GPIOs exposed on this little circuit board, I could design a circuit around it and integrate it into my own circuit board. And then I could get all the available GPIOs. But still, the downside is there's only 30 GPIO available on this chip. And we need something like 73 inputs for the G1000. So then you're looking at a lot of, you could use some multiplexers or some shift registers or something like that to make up for the inputs that you need. The downside, though, is that on MobiFlight, let me go back here. If you look at MobiFlight, okay, here we go. If we go to, let's go to the updated documentation here. If we go and look at the multiplexers that MobiFlight supports, they always mention the 74HC, 4051, and 4067. Those are very common multiplexers. I'm using the 4067 in my G1000. I have one of those. The downside is you can't use multiplexers, or I'm sorry, you can't use encoders with these multiplexers. MobiFlight says they don't work very well for encoders. So you're limited to simple inputs like buttons only. The other downside to these is, in order to wire these up, you need 5 pins. So you got 4 pins here, and then you have this one data pin that come from your microcontroller. So for one multiplexer, you need 5 pins of GPIO. Every additional multiplexer beyond that, just you have to add 1 extra pin for this data line. So say I needed, 3 multiplexers with the Raspberry Pi microcontroller. Well, I need the 5 pins for one multiplexer and then 2 additional pins for the 2 other multiplexers. So you're looking at a total of, what is that, 5, 6, 7 pins, 7 GPIO for, 16 times 3. What is that? I can't do math in my head. 16 times 3 would be 48. For 48 additional inputs, you would take 7 inputs on your microcontroller, if that made any sense. So that's a problem. So anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm thinking about going back to the drawing board on this thing and starting over because I want to get a PFD and an MFD and I can't do it. At least not right now. I'll have to wait till, sometime in May to maybe get some chips available. I don't know. So yeah, if there's anybody out there that's starting this project on their own and using the circuit board designs and all that stuff, I would strongly recommend that you source your parts first before you start anything else, because everything I think is going to hinge on that ATmega 2560 chip, and that's going to be hard to get right now. So yeah, anyway, I don't know what to do. I guess I do know what to do. I just got to find another microcontroller and look at costs and how long it'll be in production if I can find those details and things. But yeah, I'm going to have to design a new circuit. This is really frustrating and it sucks. I've spent like off and on about a year developing this G1000, so it's super frustrating. But I should have done my homework better on those chips because I know the 2560 chips have been in production for a long time and they're expensive. And there are probably better alternatives out right now. But I just figured Arduino is so big and everybody sells them that would probably be around for quite a few more years to come. And it probably will be, but it is an expensive chip. So I don't know. I got a working G1000. I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's make another one of these. So I have the PFD and MFD and now I can't even get the chips. So it's like I'm right at the finish line and I tripped and I got hit by a truck and I can't finish. So it's back to the start, back to the drawing board. But yeah, I'll keep you posted as I get more progress or know more or dive deeper into something. If there's anything interesting to share, I'll keep these videos going. I'll probably start a new playlist and just do everything in a new series. But yeah, stay tuned for more. We'll see ya.